This video is sponsored by TradeIt.gg, the internet's largest safe cross-game trading website. Games supported such as CSGO, PUBG, Dota 2, H1Z1, Rust, TF2, and Steam in general, and a website with over $500,000 of inventory and the ability to be able to trade items from some games for items in other games. Anybody is capable of getting anything that they could ever want. The trading is just like trading with anybody else on Steam, and if you use the link down below, you get an extra 0.5% and $0.5 free on your first transaction on the site. And thank you very much for TradeIt.gg for sponsoring this video, and hopefully they'll be able to sponsor a video in the future. The longest amount of time between minor Team Fortress 2 patches was 48 days, taking place between August 2nd and today. Yeah, we've officially passed the longest amount of time between minor patches. No medals, no bug fixes, no balance changes, 48 days. What's becoming clear is that this is a record that will be consistently broken, as the time between any patches at all will become wider and wider. Why is this? The core Team Fortress team is between 3 and 5 people, with members such as Dave Riller, Jill, and Eric Smith being more known in the community compared to any possible others. That said, since the release of the Blue Moon update back in March, 175 days ago, by the way, there has been a peak in end-of-life rumors circling around the community, due, in part, by the lowest level of communication by the hypothetical team ever. Historically, the community's largest critique of the team was its lack of consistent, informative communication, and although even then that was a valid point, there was at least something to discuss. From the Parachute blog for Love and War in 2014, to the many leaks pointing towards Gunmetal and Tough Break of 2015, Nito of 2016, and the Weapon Changes blog post the Vinyl Soundscape tease and 9.6 of 2017, the community has always had something pointing towards the next major content update. As of September 19th, 2018, there's not a single thing that points towards anything. And the lack of communication has caused some people, including myself, to consider the fact that the team may have just retired from Team Fortress 2. That was until Agent Gun. The winners of this last year's Saxies, the team behind Agent Gun has won their trip to Seattle and their tour of Valve, and I was waiting for something to come out of it. The smaller community close to the team seemed adverse to my want to get information out of the trip. However, the only thing needed was just a confirmation that yes, there was still a team working on the game today, and lo and behold, there is. According to the Twitter posts of many of the viewers, the Team Fortress 2 team held a LAN party in the playtesting room, where in one video Eric S is seen, in another picture Jill is seen, and in this image Dave Riller is seen. That's D Riller. He's a really nice guy, and he made honor rail. So the team is still chugging along. However, the core team seems to be down to at least 3. So the community needs to realize some stuff about how the team, and to a lesser extent, how Valve overall works. Valve prioritizes value creation over everything. Value being defined not monetarily, but an ability to drive internal efficiency, data collection, and external experiences that later drives regulars in the community. The Team Fortress team is no different from the rest of their parent company. However, the one detail most misunderstood is how disconnected each team truly is from every other team. The most accurate description I've ever been given on how Valve is structured is describing Valve as an umbrella corporation, with very few core people being solely Valve employees, and each team being their own indie studio per se that Valve as a whole owns. Obviously, this is not how the company literally operates. However, systematically, it's kind of close to the truth. People can choose to work on whatever team they want, and that is stressed a lot in the community. But what people don't realize is that a transition between teams is a big deal for the employee, and likely takes a while to get fully integrated. I've been described the process like starting a whole new job. Due to the main focus of value creation not only on the end user, but the team as well, not many people at Valve would see keeping up with what other teams are doing as the best or most valuable use of their time. So, aside from the Team Fortress team, likely very few people at Valve would know much about the Team Fortress team, and that's not due to the lack of care, but it's more due to the lack of value keeping up would create. So the core team remains small, and confirmed team members Dave Riller and Eric Smith have been there since at least 2007, and Jill, hired in 2014, started on the Team Fortress team, and before had a huge history with Team Fortress and servers and community management and stuff. Team expansion seems unlikely, unless people Valve deems as good hires view Team Fortress 2 as something that they could directly add value to, and not just a little value. They would have to see Team Fortress 2 as the project they could add the most value to. So with the small team that fluctuates in size based on how close the next update is, and the very small core team that will likely not expand anytime soon, the total value output is relatively small compared to other teams. So even right writing a blog post once every few months about the team's progress and goals could be viewed as a waste of the team's time, and they likely think similarly to other teams, where the lack of communication can be superseded by the eventual release of what they're working on. Valve's show not tell way of marketing. So the only way we could get the team to communicate consistently is by having the community pillars organize and do the bulk of the work. I've attempted to curate the most asked community questions and sent out to Dave, Jill, and Eric through email and Steam. And unfortunately, since starting the idea, I've not received a single response from anyone on the team. That's not to say I specifically deserve communication. However, if the community wants communication and continued support, the community needs to create its own value, and oh hot damn, they are. Tip of the Hat's 5th anniversary is October 5th through October 7th, and this is the pillar of what the community is capable of. Benefiting Camp One Step Closer, quote, which offers camps and other educational excursion programs throughout the year to allow children with cancer to just be kids, end quote. This event is so professionally done and always seems to pull the biggest Team Fortress 2 pillars out of the woodwork, famously getting Germa to show up on a surprise in 2016. This year, they got Sideshow and fucking Star to show up. Pulling Star out has single-handedly made me greatly anticipate this event. And hey, they got Germa to show up before. I can't be the only one that wants to see this happen. The map-making community has also started gearing up for this year's Scream Fortress, and a few excellent maps that, if Scream Fortress happens, will definitely be in the update. They include Powerhouse Event, a very straightforward port of Powerhouse to the standard Scream Fortress style, however masterfully done. The map looks great, it runs great, and hell, it's Powerhouse, which is one of my favorite maps. Not only that, but it's an event map that doesn't go crazy with the gimmicks, which is my dream. Sometimes I just want to appreciate the mood and atmosphere, but I don't want to deal with the wheel or any of the spells. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Great map. Gas Lane. Once again, a pretty straightforward port of Fast Lane. However, this one isn't done as well as Powerhouse, as capping mid causes skeletons to spawn around the point. However, there isn't a nav mesh, so the skeletons just kind of stand in place. That aside, it's Fast Lane, a much-loved comp-friendly map, and although the much darker look to everything will possibly mess with sight competitive players, it's still a great map to play on. It's a simple conversion, and it's still a great map. Frosty, a winter-themed CTF map that seems very similar to Barn Blitz in style. With it being CTF, this map feels slightly unbalanced. However, that has everything to do with the game mode, nothing to do with the map. I love snow maps, and my dream update is always to have a Scream Fortress style event, but with Smithmas. Smithmas rarely gets the kind of attention that Scream Fortress does. However, just imagine what could be done with holiday-themed contractor stuff. I love this kind of stuff. The map itself is fairly open. It's quite large, it's art passed incredibly well, and it feels like an official map. Induction, a very early work-in-progress CP map, and even though the map is really only blocked out, the layout and ideas here are really interesting. Many movement options are there, however they require at least a minimal amount of skill to be able to get from point to point. My only complaint is that it's not a snowy map. It should be a snowy map. Every map should be a snowy map. Boiler, a very small, blocky, simplistic CTF map that ended up being some of the most fun I've had playing CTF lately. I think the secret to this game mode is that small, mirrored, blocky maps with small team sizes is just how CTF should be played. Because wow, this map feels amazing, even though it's very simple. What maps did I miss, by the way? I've also been taking a look at other items on the workshop, and this month my favorites have been Pyro in Chinatown, an amazing neon mask for the Pyro, Vampire Vanquisher, a Castlevania-looking headwear for the soldier with paintable hair, the Truth Bomber, I mean, look at it, and lastly, the Uncivil Servant set for Pyro, which is horrifying, but really well done. And the VNN Community Catch-Up TF2 servers are back online with map voting and actual map changing ability. Wow! IPs and links for all the workshop content is all down below, and I cannot stress enough how important it is for community members to go to the workshop once in a while and vote up the items that you find interesting and fun, to let the team know what you want more than anything, and to keep the crap off the front page whenever possible. And you know what the hell, I'm gonna still try and compile a question list for the Team Fortress team, and even though we will likely not get answers, I could still try and pass them around and maybe it could end up in the right lap. The Team Fortress 2 team is still alive at Valve, and although we don't know a single friggin' thing about the next content update, I can still feel the game having a long life ahead of it, whether the team is behind the content or not. To be completely honest, the best TF2 map makers or modelers or texture artists are in the community. They're not at Valve.